It's a bit strange to be here today. Unpredictable, to say the least. I used to come to Prato when I was a child. My parents used to buy fabrics here, and every road today seemed quite familiar. My mom was a tailor. I believe she was a good tailor, but a bit of an artist, if you will. And she believed in a different future. She believed in taking risks. And she wanted for me a life different than she had. It was a hot summer day, and she was arguing that I should have not gone to a normal university, that I should have chosen a different school, that it would have given me better chances. To tell you the truth, I wanted to be an astronaut, but I was a bit young and stupid and too bad conditioned by bad teachers and by a small town thinking. So I took my mom's best advice. And that September, I became a fashion student. Polimoda was a different kind of school. And it was not the teachers or the school itself that made it different, but also the students. But the teachers were different too. I do remember Maurizio. Maurizio was a designer from the 80s. He had a certain age already, and he was coming from Milan. He was born together with Armani and Versace, and Polimoda asked him to come to teach us the real fashion, not the fashion of the books. And he was great. He was coming from Milan in the morning and full of excitement, and it was like full of enthusiasm to be there and share this with us. As a student, I was full of hope, knowledge, energy, and ideas. Lucky. I think I was lucky because life took me around the world. I lived in the United States, in India, in China, in Hong Kong. And everything looked quite exciting, quite good. Until one day, I had the first reality check. The job I had wasn't unleashing the potentials I felt I had inside, nor was inspiring me anymore. It was time for a change. And so here it goes. I decided to become a student again. I went back to school, and then as I graduated, I received a call from Florence again. It was Sergio. And he said, "Stefano, you have got to come to Florence. There is a forum between businesses and fashion schools. And businesses will ask fashion schools whether or not they're preparing the students correctly." Sounds familiar? So here I go. I went there, and as a student, I was full of hope, knowledge, energy, and ideas once again. As I sat there in the morning, I listened businesses telling students, I listened to businesses telling schools how they didn't prepare students properly. And at the same time, I listened to schools telling businesses that, no, look, we do prepare students properly. As I stood up in the afternoon to state my case and telling them, look, I am one of those students. I've been prepared. I'm here. I asked myself, are they asking the right question? Fast forward a little bit. I was working for a luxury company, and I get a call from the HR. Well, you know that when you get a call from the HR, it's never good news. So I go there and she goes, Stefano, do you know what is the problem? So, what the problem is that people in the company don't understand what you are. And I'm like, what? Yes, they cannot place you in any box. So I was like, okay. As you can imagine, my career in that company didn't really last very long. So fast forward a little bit more, I thought it was a bit ironic that the company that hired me because of the talk that I gave in Florence, because the HR saw me there. So there I goes, life changes. And there was South America. That's my motorcycle. As I was riding down the Panamericana, I received a message. It was from Polimoda. What a surprise. And they said, Stefano, would you like to come and teach? And I thought, teach? I'm not a professor. But maybe I thought, riding down these endless roads, maybe I can help students to connect the dots between fashion in the books and fashion in reality. So there I was, I said yes, and a student became a teacher. Fast forward a little bit more. As I became a teacher, the output of Polimoda as a school became its very input, hopefully to generate a better output, right? And this is a perfect example of a knowledge circular economy, an economy of education, where the school itself finds again its own students after a long working cycle. I know, I hear that all the time, but they're still fashion students. And I always faced this little, if you want, stereotype. But when I start teaching a new course, especially I teach to master students, the first question I ask in class is why? Why are you here? And I love to hear their stories, their motivations, the clarity or doubts in their mind. Polimoda today has almost 70 different countries in it. And maybe none of you can imagine that one of my students is a PhD in political science. Some of them have been venture capitalists coming from the finance world. Others have been working in different fields in the fashion system, and now they're trying to connect the dots. It's really something different. It's a collective knowledge sharing, because the kind of information that you can create in that school is not only what comes from students, from professors. It's also what students bring to the table. As schools, we have come a long way. As teachers, we have come a long way, but also students have really come a long way. In this complex and very, very fast-moving world, though, I feel that you cannot be a teacher anymore unless you're also a student. And so, here we go. I enrolled in university again recently, and I became a teacher-student and a student-teacher. Before this talk, I was asked by somebody, will the students become drivers of the future, of change, or will they become victims? Quite a tough question, right? The truth is that If businesses don't break the old ways, if managers are not willing to depart from old patterns, if we here today are not willing to break the balance, there won't be any room for a new life cycle to take shape. The students I see, once again, are full of hope, knowledge, energy, and ideas. They're new, they're more prepared than I was when I was a student in Polimoda. They talk a different language, not just country languages. They embrace technology, they're very, very familiar with it. And this creates a completely new paradigm. I think the point is that we should not fear new students, the upcoming students, if we don't understand them. I love Alice. Alice in Wonderland. As she arrived at the door of Wonderland, she didn't know where to go. And she found a cat. And she asked to the cat, "Cat, where should I go?" The cat asked, "Well, where do you want to go?" And she said, "I don't know." Then, it doesn't matter what road do I tell you to choose, does it? So 20 years on, from that forum in Florence, I find myself to ask the same question. Are we asking the right question? So I ask you here, why are you here? Are you here to hope for somebody to come, for a beacon of light? Or are you here eventually to empower and inspire them? I'm no professor, but I am an observer. And new technology we spoke about today, the Industry 4.0, they will create a new kind of industry, a new economy. That there is no doubt. And new tools will become the way the business is run. So maybe we should not underestimate the students that are coming into our companies, because sometimes students can become our teachers too. Thank you.